Hola, estudiantes. It's Mrs. Santiago here, and today we're going to be looking at las actividades en la escuela. We're going to be looking at the grammar of the ER and IR verbs in the present tense. This is a pace lesson. During a pace lesson, you have a job to do. You need to think about, what does the sentence mean on the slide? How is the red verb changing? And remember, there will be a variety of ER and IR verbs represented in this video. Let's get started. Nosotros compartimos en la cafetería. This one might be tricky because remember, compartir, when we each get part, that means we're sharing. And in the cafeteria, they're not sharing a food item. They're sharing time with each other. Nosotros compartimos en la cafetería. En la oficina, señora Subsera recibe la información. En la oficina, señora Subsera recibe la información. Los estudiantes leen en la biblioteca. Los estudiantes leen en la biblioteca. En la cafetería, la señora Zobrist vende la comida. En la cafetería, la señora Zobrist vende la comida. Señor Cox abre su correo electrónico. Señor Cox abre su correo electrónico. Dam y Mateo aprenden en la clase de español. Dam y Mateo aprenden en la clase de español. We are asking the boys, ¿Tú corres en el pasillo? ¿Tú corres en el pasillo? And they answer, No, yo no corro en el pasillo. No, yo no corro en el pasillo. Mis amigos y yo comprendemos la información en la clase de ciencias. Mis amigos y yo comprendemos la información en la clase de ciencias. No escribimos mensajes de texto en la escuela. No escribimos mensajes de texto en la escuela. Muy bien. Now let's take a look at some of these sentences together. The azul son los verbos ER y el rojo son los verbos IR. ¿Tú corres en el pasillo? No, yo no corro en el pasillo. Señor Cox abre su correo electrónico. Los estudiantes leen en la biblioteca. Mis amigos y yo comprendemos la información. No escribimos mensajes de texto en la escuela. When we look at the ER and IR verbs together, it's a little bit confusing. It's hard to compare how they're changing their endings when we don't see them on separate areas. So let's take a look first at the ER verbs, the azul. First, let's look at the verb comer. If you look at the little girl, ella come la sandía. I used to think about how my mom yelled, come and get it, when it was time to eat. To eat. Comer means to eat. Let's take a look. Yo como la hamburguesa. Tú comes las alas de pollo. Ya no come el brócoli. Nosotros comemos el almuerzo. Los muchachos comen el helado. It's easier to see the endings when we look at them in this order. Let's do the same thing for the rojo. Let's use the verb escribir. Look at the word scribe in the middle of it. A scribe writes. So escribir, to write. Let's take a look. Yo escribo la carta. Tú escribes una nota a tu amigo. Ya no escribe en el escritorio. Nosotros escribimos en español. Ellos escriben la tarea. Now that we're looking at them side by side, do you notice anything that they have in common? Think back to the AR verbs. The AR verbs ended in o, as, a, amos, an. Are these similar? Let's take a look. For the yo form, if you chop and add, you can tell that the ending is an o. Yo como, yo escribo. Let's take a look at the to form. If you do a simple chop and add, the ending is es. Comes, escribes. It's the same for both. Let's look at the next form. In the third person, talking about any one person or thing, come ends in an e. Escribe ends in an e. Come escribe. Now I'm going to skip the nosotros form and I'm going to look for similarities in the last area, the third person plural, any two or more people that doesn't include you. Comen, escriben. They have the same en endings. Why did I skip over the nosotros form? Take a close look. If you chop and add, you should notice a difference. Comemos ends in emos. Escribimos ends in imos. The e for emos comes from the er verb ending, and the I for escribimos comes from the er ending. So these verbs take the same ending in both er and ir in the present tense, other than the nosotros form. ¿Qué actividades tú haces en la escuela? Remember that the verb hacer means to make or do. So this sentence is asking, what activities do you do in school? Well, if you asked Mrs. Santiago, ¿qué actividades tú haces? She's going to answer, yo como el sándwich. Delicioso. Now you should be ready to use er and ir verbs in the present tense to talk about your daily life. Gracias. Thanks for being on this journey with us for the present tense of er and ir verbs. Now it's your turn to review and practice.